Hello and welcome to another episode of Wednesdays with WE. This is episode number 60. Today, my guest is one who was unfortunate not to don the India colors, but of late is taken over a new assignment which has a lot to do with the development of Indian cricket. He is the head coach of the Indian women's team, and he's also helped a lot of other nations as a batting consultant prior to taking up this role. He's been a leading run getter in domestic cricket, and all that he was looking forward to doing in the India colors is something that he is going to do in the future for a long, long time. Is none other than Amol Muzumdar, the Mumbai stalwart, who's gone on to become the head coach of the Indian women's team. It's my pleasure to present you Amol Muzumdar. Hello, Amol. How are you doing? All well?
All good, WA. All good. How are you been?
I'm all right, and let's hit the straps.
Yeah.
Interesting thing that I read was that during that huge partnership that Sachin and Vinod had, you were supposed to walk out to bat next. Were you padded up the entire duration?
I still have the rash on my knees. I still have the pad rash on my knees. So it's been about 35 years, but I have just dodged that question every time somebody takes an interview. But I mean, look, it was a school game, and it's been brilliant after that. And that's not my only claim to fame, yeah, WE. That's
No, 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 definitely not. My interest was about is the rat still there or not? That was my interest. It was not about even suggesting that was your claim to
no,
fame.
no, no.
Uh,
I'm just
the
joking.
Artraker School of Coaching, it
Yeah.
is completely different, or how did it work? I'm curious about it.
Um, I personally feel that it was a guru shishya relationship with Achrekar sir. I mean, even now, after so many years, after uh, so many decades, if anyone, Achrekar sir's student, they fondly remember him. That's been his legacy. His style of operating was completely different. He only focused on match temperament. So basically, whenever somebody came out of Achrekar sir's clinic, or coaching clinic, you can call it, or school, guru school. So then he was ready to take on the in the big league. Whether it was Vinod Kambli, Praveen Ambre, Chandrakant Pandit, Lal Chandra Rajput, before that, Palvinder Sandhu. I can name a lot of cricketers. So yeah, they were all ready. So his style of operation was very different than others. And the biggest point, what I feel, was his eye for talent, WB. He never missed a trick. I mean, these are all his students who have gone on to play for Mumbai and India, and got laurels. But but there are so many others who have made a mark. I mean, he made a mark in their lives, and because of cricket, because of him, they ended up getting jobs, being cricketers, and they've made their lives.
As an outsider watching the cricketers he coached across generations, there's been a distinct change in the way they played, which only suggests to me that Mr. Achekar was obviously evolving himself as a coach, and he was aware of the changes that are happening over decades. Is that a correct assessment?
Absolutely. I think he never, the biggest, another one, a super point was of his, was that he allowed, the natural ability to take its course, as far as the technique is concerned. He never changed that technique. Say, for example, I mean, Sachin's, batting grip on the handle was a little, on the lower side. Um, and he never changed it. He never tried to change it. And his method was, if it's working, then if you can score runs, if you can push that ball in the gap, so be it. So he evolved himself, and I remember doing a level 2 course here at NCA in Bangalore way back, and every time one a slide came up, um, and I remembered Acharya sir immediately. Every slide I remembered him. in the sense that, oh, he used to do this 25 years back, or he used to do this in a different way, in a different manner, but his style of coaching was way ahead of his time.
Bombay school of batting was generally considered to be caduce and grind. But if you look at the wards he coached in the 90s, the Amres, the Kamblis, the Tendulkars, I think he perhaps got out of that caduce kind of bubble, didn't he? Because they were allowed to play freely enough.
Yeah, there was another way of, as you can say, bat. You were saying, talking about Mumbai's Khadu's attitude towards batting, and uh, you know, immediately there was another method that you can score big runs by hitting the ball hard, and also by lifting the ball in the air. So he allowed it to happen. It naturally happened. He allowed that natural style to be there. I mean, somebody like Vinod was naturally gifted to hit the ball over the top. So he just allowed him to flourish, and that was his USP, I think.
You left all that to those boys and you carried on the pattern of the Bombay school of batting, did you?
Ah,
At the start of your career.
yeah, you can say that. The thing was, my style of play was, I always prefer to play the situation. What the situation demanded, or what my team was in that particular situation in a game, and how I can, uh, excel, and or how I can score runs and get my team out of this situation. And I found a way, and it was my way of doing it. So you can say that.
Yeah, it's good that everybody has his own style, otherwise world will be boring.
Yeah, it would be true, very true.
You got off to a fantastic start in first class cricket and you backed it up with consistent performances. And then what was it like to bat around the likes of Jaffer, Manjrekar, Tendulkar, Kambli? What was it like?
It was my early part of my Ranji Trophy career, let's say 4 5 years. It was just pure education, a batting masterclass at the other end. I made my debut under Ravi, and I was very glad that I was batting with him when I got the 100 on my debut, and it was just learning from the seniors. Somebody like Sanjay, you just had to stay next to him and learn certain things. Keep your eyes open, your ears open, and mouth shut. So that was the mantra of my first 4 5 years. It's just gathering a lot of information. Obviously, Sachin was there. Sachin, I had seen him from school, but batting with these guys was amazing, amazing. And later on, it carried on with Wasim. I enjoyed my time with Wasim in the middle. It was just pure class at the other end. So it was just enjoyed. I had the best seat in the house, watching Sachin, Vinod, Wasim, Sanjay, Ravi, all bat in opposite end.
After all these years, if you were to come out of yourself and look back at things then, would you consider being in that crowd somehow did not really sort of help you in a way personally?
Could be, could be. That's a great question. But yeah, I mean, look, I was still making my mark, and I was happy being there. There are no regrets. Don't get me wrong. There are no regrets. But now that you've asked me that question, if I can be out of that box of the stars which were around me, yeah, I mean, that could have probably uh, maybe got me a different path towards playing for India.
For example, Praveen Amre was forced to shift because because of circumstances,
Yeah,
and he had to shift because primarily he got a job. If you
yeah,
were to perhaps do that, maybe we are just obviously
yeah,
sort of
yeah.
looking at how things could have been.
Yeah.
It could have perhaps been a different story altogether, as was I see it from the outside, because the cynics would say that okay, what is a big deal in somebody coming up to all these guys and getting runs?
Yeah, true. I mean, there was a live example in front of me, but now when I'm looking back at it, it was Praveen Amre was. I mean, he went to railways. He made his debut for Mumbai, realized it certain things, and he had to get a job, and he left Mumbai and went to railways, and he played for Central Zone, and eventually went on to play for India. So that was an avenue. There were so many others also. Somebody like Sanjay Bangar shifted. Zahir Khan shifted initially to Baroda. So there were a lot of other cricketers who were around me also who were shifting, but it never struck me at that time. I always felt that, you know, because probably, I was secured in my mind over here. If there somebody would have put that seed in my mind of insecurity, probably I would have shifted. But it just didn't occur to me that is an avenue, or that is a channel that I could take to fulfill my dreams.
You labored on, went past Mankad's record, and then you won the Ranji Trophy for Mumbai. And then much later, you shifted to other states. What was that experience all about?
Uh, Precisely, it was 17 years that I played for Mumbai. Uh, and after 17 years, there were a lot of ups and downs. There were a lot of, in Mumbai, there is an unknown sort of a rule. I mean, it is not a thumb rule, but, they just, a little bit of ruthlessness is there in Mumbai. And it has been there for ages, and it will continue to be there. It's that if you're not good enough for India, then you better make way. So they'll not linger on. So that was one of the thing. After 17 years, I just got a feeling that maybe it is time for me to move. And But then it occurred to me that, probably I should finish here in with Mumbai. I played 17 years, but then I thought that, I have something to offer. I'm fit. I am loving this game still. uh, why can't I go outside and play? So then it struck me that I need to go. And one thing, what my dad and my wife actually told me at that time, that you've earned something for 17 years. Now it's time for you to give it back. So for the next 4 years, I tried to give whatever I had learned to the states that I was going as a professional. I went to Assam for 2 years, and I went to Andhra for two.
Without being critical about the states that you played for after you were done with Bombay, how bizarre was it after playing 17 years for Bombay and going and playing other states?
I go, when I went to be very honest, now on your channel, I can say this. I got a culture shock when I went to Guwahati. Um, I really got a culture shock, and I said it took me a little while to get my bearing right in my head. That, God, I mean, it can't be that difficult, because of 17 years of in Mumbai. You took certain things for granted. Simple things, practice facilities, or the food facility after practice, simple things. But we just took it for granted, and it took me a while to adjust to Assam. Although Assam was a great experience, I signed on one condition from the managing committee that we will win the plate, Ranji Trophy plate group. We have to win, and there was no. So there was constant pressure. In Mumbai, it was constant pressure for 17 years. The 18th year when I went to Assam, you just have to win. And there were about 13, 14 committee members right in front. They were saying in Hindi, "Kuch bhi karo, jeeto." Okay. And luckily, I was leading. I had a free hand later on. And luckily, we won. And for the first time, Assam came into the elite group. It was good experience. I've made a lot of friends over the 17 years. I was stuck with one particular set of friends. In the 4 years, I made a lot of friends in Assam and in Andhra.
Just jogging my memory, I think that you quit halfway through the season. And could it have been a better exit either at the start of the season or at the end of the season? What prompted that mid-season exit?
I was always driven, WE. Every season I was driven. I used to set certain things. Most of the seasons I went to England in the off season and came back in September. And when I used to come back from England, I used to set myself some goals, and that used to be the driving force for the season. Uh, with Andhra, I also felt that there could have been a, a better way of exiting the game I loved so much, but halfway that drive went away. I just couldn't put my foot on the ground where I was. There was nothing to look beyond those games because we were not going to qualify. Um, and then I felt, 2 games remaining in the season. Why can't the youngster come up and I mean, there was no drive left in me. And I just answered the call, which came straight from the heart. I said, "That's it, done."
Fair enough. I think that's the best way to quit, in the sense that when you know it's enough, you've had enough, you quit. That's about it.
Yeah.
And once you quit, like everybody else, you also ventured into trying out many things, and you hung in as a broadcaster for a while. And that was one way of keeping in touch with the game you played for a long time, wasn't it?
Mm. Yeah, absolutely. Another thing was I had a family, and my daughter was really small when I quit. Uh, I was traveling a lot. After England. I went for 5 years. I went to Holland, so I used to go in April and come back in September. So, I missed quite a bit of family life, and that was one thing which we made as a conscious effort from me and my wife, that I'll try and be as much as possible in Mumbai. And I knew that coaching would take me away again, but commentating also gave me that buffer of getting back to Mumbai on the fourth or fifth day, and then spending a little bit of time with my young daughter. That also played a part of me, getting into commentary. But then eventually,
I was
it's a
coming
calling,
to that.
a calling basically.
Eventually, you got into coaching and you did a few gigs as a consultant for foreign teams. And it's a path where you made strides, if I can put it that way. Must be satisfying in all the gigs that you did, the contribution you made to the careers of youngsters, wasn't it?
It's a very satisfying feeling. There is no doubt about it. But I mean, not because I'm on your channel or I'm on your show, I'm saying this, but this is an honest fact that it is because of WE. I still remember the conversation that we had between us, and you had told me that you will get a lot of satisfaction if you come into coaching. And I was commentating, and I was very apprehensive about coming into coaching at that time. I used to do small gigs here and there, and then that's it. I was very apprehensive, but one honest conversation with you, I think, changed my perspective. And here I am, about 5, 6 years down the line. In fact, more, 7 years down the line. Yeah, but it's been satisfying. I don't know why I was apprehensive. I would have regretted if I wouldn't have had that conversation and applied that into my day-to-day life.
Kind of you, Amol, and I felt that you would do a very good job as a coach. And at least now I know one person has good things to say about me in my life.
I was just going to say that. But the youngsters, you said you touched upon youngsters who maybe must have benefited. But there was a youngster when I was having that conversation with you. You had an impact on my career. So, but I would just want to say thank you for that.
You're welcome, and I wish you make a lot more strides than you've done already.
Nobody,
Another of your colleagues, Wasim Jaffer, is red hot on social media now.
no.
Was he always like that during his playing days?
um, I knew that he's got good sense of humor. He had lovely one-liners. I mean, Wasim is a very introvert guy, and he used to come up with a superb one-liners when we were in fielding in slips, or even when we were batting. He used to come up with great one-liners, but I didn't expect him to be so hot on social media. I mean, he's next level.
Jaffer. I met him recently in South Africa. We had a good chat, and he's the same person that I came to a long time ago.
Gen Z. He's become Gen. I call him. He's become Gen Z
Okay.
on social media. हम लोग तो वही 90s में है यार. तू Gen Z बन गया.
Now, a little bit on your current assignment. It must have been terrific to watch the girl perform the way they did in test matches, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It was pleasing. It was very nice. It was the hard work that they were putting in. It was just paying off. The sincerity with which they were playing the game. It was a result of that. I think it's been a while that they played Test cricket, but the way they played both the Test matches against England and Australia, it was tough. The conditions were tough, but yeah, it was satisfying to get those wins.
On your part, what were the things you had to unlearn to fit into this current role of yours?
Ah, um, there are certain things. I mean, one thing that you need a lot of patience. You need a lot of patience. That's what I've realized. And also, there are certain things. I mean, at the end of the day, cricket is cricket. I mean, um, whether it's there are certain things that you just have to be a little wary about or careful. But that's about it. I felt. Um, so some fielding positions. Uh, I didn't. Initially, I'll give you a small example of sweeper covers. In general, men's cricket, the sweeper covers is towards point. Here, the sweeper covers was like deep extra cover. And I kept telling the analyst, "What is that girl doing over there? Why isn't she towards point?" He said, "No, sir. You know, that fielder is constant. That is sweeper covers women's cricket." I said, "Yeah, okay, fine. I have to unlearn that small little thing that goes out of the window." So these are small things. But I'll tell you what, WB, the 2 months have been really, really satisfying. And credit to everyone in the team, every single person in the team. Had a good time.
Yeah, immediately on the heels of that, the WPL has got off to a sensational start, isn't it?
You couldn't have asked more. Can you imagine 2024 WPL, one ball, five needed. Somebody comes, first ball in her life of WPL, comes and whacks the ball over long on for a six, and to Alice Capsey. So it's a dream start, but I hope it goes from step by step it goes up.
Yeah, it will, because the more they play, the better they'll become, and the more courageous they'll become as well. And the big thing, obviously, this year is the upcoming World Cup that's going to be played in Bangladesh. Any kind of an advantage for India, as you see it?
Uh, I think in a big tournament, I think it's best to just go with a blank slate and just keep filling in as we go ahead. So uh, that will be my motive going into the tournament. But at the same time, we need to do our homework right. We need to do our planning right and preparations right. So it's still eight months away, but the thought process is already started.
Yes, one of the coaches in the WPL is also handling another national side. So it's going to be interesting as far as planning is concerned, the way you would do it, the way you would do it, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, but a clear message has been given to all the girls who played in the series that try and learn as much as possible in the next 3 weeks from anyone and everyone. Again, the mantra is, keep your ears open, eyes open. Uh, just absorb whatever good things are there, because it's in WPL you will be playing with the best players around you and best, one of the better coaching staffs around. So I think whatever you can learn, make sure that you absorb a lot of stuff. So the message is clear to the girls.
One of the heartening things for me, watching from the outside, is that few medium paces have come along nicely. Taita Sadhu's burst into the scene. Pooja Vastrakar has started bowling regularly. We've got Amanjot Kaur coming into the ranks as well. And is the hunt still going on, obviously?
Yes, and that's the reason I'm here in Bangalore. Um, just want to get as many good quality players in the circuit. We In the series gone by against England and Australia, we played with almost 22 players were there. Uh, Test in all three formats. We would like to have another set of that many number, so that there is enough bench strength, and we can see it in the quality of cricket that has been on display for the last 4 5 days. It's We do have that bench strength, and the hunt is always on. Fast bowlers, you mentioned about Titas. Last year we saw her in under 19, and they've all come up really well. That work, as you know, goes on at NCA, and I'm really pleased to say that it's been phenomenal what work happens at the NCA.
From the way things are going to happen, I presume that everybody has a good chance if they put up good performances in the WPL, isn't it?
True. Because we do have a lead up to the World Cup. We have a series, uh, during the IPL. Actually, when the IPL is happening here, we would there is a series, and South Africa series in the month of June. So we do have a lead up, and later on there is Asia Cup as well. So a nice lead up to the World Cup. We would need a lot of players to be up and ready and fit, physically fit and mentally fit too.
If there is one area the girls need to work on ahead of the World Cup, which one would that be?
Can I mention two?
Yeah, of course. There are no restrictions.
um, Fielding and fitness. It's a non-negotiable for me, and it's been conveyed in my very first meeting. It was conveyed to them with no uncertain terms that fitness and fielding, we are going to take it. I know there is a little bit of a, it's a still work in progress, and it will happen over a period of time. But the thought process is that we are going to be, uh, with regards to fitness, we are going to, start the process. We have already started the process, and um, it's non-negotiable. So these are two areas where I feel if we can pay attention, then the overall standard of cricket would go up.
My next question can cut both ways, but knowing me, I'm sure that you'll take it in the right spirit. Uh, it can be very disappointing when you wind up having spent the best part of your life not achieving the ultimate objective that of playing for India. Uh, how does one go about it, or how does one handle the tricky phase immediately upon retirement? Because for every Tendulkar, there are about 1,000 stories which are probably not written the way it has to be written. As far as players are concerned.
So you're asking me how did I handle that, and
Yeah, yeah.
it was it was tough. It wasn't easy because I started off my career think or believing or that I would like to play for India, and that's the ultimate goal for any cricketer, whoever is playing. So I will not shy away from saying that that was my goal, but it didn't happen, it took me a while to realize that it's not going to happen, and that was a difficult phase in my life. Luckily, I had a strong family. My father and my wife stood really strong behind me, and they gave me a channel where I could shift my focus, and rather than because of thinking of constant thinking of playing for India, I'd lost that I don't know how to call it, but mojo. And eventually, I understood that okay, fine, it's not going to happen. Uh, to change my goal was very critical at that time, and the goal shifted from playing for India to enjoying the sport or enjoying batting that I love. So then eventually it didn't matter whether I was playing for Quick Cricket Club in Holland, Khar Gymkhana in Mumbai, or for Mumbai Ranji Trophy. It didn't matter. What mattered to me was my batting, and I loved batting. So I just shifted my focus from playing for India towards the best thing that I could do at that time was batting. I think it is very important for people. Sometimes I hear nowadays a lot of youngsters or certain things that go on in their minds, but they need to understand that this is the reality of life and you got to move on. I've always been an advocate of moving on. I don't like to linger on that subject, or it's just not me. So that helped me also. It was probably in the DNA that it didn't bother me. I did the best what I could every time I stepped on the ground. And as I said, it didn't the ground or the team didn't matter. So that was one of the tougher part. Post my retirement, it was a conscious decision to get into commentary and eventually coaching, and it has been a satisfying and a fulfilling one. And the day I put the India jersey on WB, trust me, I was a happy man.
Of course, there's still a long, long way to go in these pursuits of yours. I'm sure they'll definitely give you the satisfaction that you're looking for. Now, to the other side of the spectrum and to the new vertical that you adopted now, how do you suggest the girls, the aspiring cricketers, go about their career?
I think in cricket, being honest is the ultimate thing. Just be honest to yourself. Whether you're batting, bowling, fielding, captaining a side, just be honest and just work hard. I think women's cricket is on the upward scale, without a doubt. You can see it. There's a solid response, not just in Mumbai, but in Bangalore. If you see WPL, you know people are seeing that it's a channel for them to grow and make a professional career out of it. So that's been a welcome change in Indian sport, I think. And my only advice to them is be honest to yourself. Be the best you can. It doesn't matter where you play, just be the best.
Thanks a lot, Amol. And it was nice of you to accede to my request to appear on this show. And I wish you all the very best in your future endeavors.
Pleasure talking to you.
Amol Muzumdar obviously he spent years as a broadcaster, and no wonder he is one who can convey his thoughts very clearly and with a lot of balance and sense in what he says. I'm sure that you would have enjoyed the chat, and like I always say, for those who've been with us right from the start, uh, please keep letting us know as to what you need us to do in the future episodes. And for those who are joining us for the first time, click on all the buttons that there are to be clicked and log on to the handle of Sportstar and see the earlier episodes. There's some lovely content out there in the earlier episodes. And as I always say before I leave your company, until I catch up with you next time, be good and stay safe.